You telling me that a hospital wouldn't take a suicide attempt? First of all, stick your finger down her throat and make her throw up. The orderly could stick his finger down Tina Turner's throat and make her throw up. Hello there, love bugs. Hello there, Bellas. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share the Facebook, subscribe, and visit uptopbeauty.com. We have the Ms. Hollywood shades in this pink. A brown and a blue is coming in soon. Go on over there to Uptop Beauty and check it out. And if you are not already a part of this book club, please hit the Patreon link below and or the join button here on the YouTube, and for a small monthly fee of $5, you babies, yes, you can be privy to all the shenanigans before the YouTube gets it, if the YouTube gets it. Now, let's continue talking about taking back my name by Ickety Ikety. I mean, he a wife-beating, narcissistic hoe, but I understand the whole better.
Hurry up. Anna, what is it? Charlene, something wrong with her. Anna, what you need?
Hold on. Come on, Anna Mae. Come on, baby. You gonna make it. God damn, if you don't make it, I keep. Hear me? Tell me, bitch, if you don't make it, I keep.
When Tina drove away in her Jaguar XKE, I got this funny feeling that something was wrong with her. After about 10 minutes, my feelings of dread intensified. It was only maybe 15 blocks from where we lived to the club we were playing at. So I jumped into my clothes and flew down to the club. I just knocked on the door I was passing and said, "Hey, time for the show." Then I went up on stage and started the theme song on the guitar, ready for Tina to join me. While I was playing, Esther, one of the long-serving Ikettes, came over to me on stage and whispered that I had better come to the back and see about Tina. By the expression on her face, I knew something was terribly wrong. I shouted for the hand to keep playing, and then I headed for the dressing room. On the way, Rhonda told me it appeared that Tina had taken some sort of pills. I walked into the dressing room and she was lying down. Her eyes rolled back in her head. She was foaming at the mouth. Either they had taken her wig off her head or she hadn't put it on. The way that What's Love got to do with it depicted that scene was that she was having a mental breakdown, but it was due to Ike's abuse. According to Ike, the reason why she had that episode at the venue was because she was in her feelings about Ike in the bill. None of it's good, but just the way that the movie edited it made it look like, damn, Tina, you know? So I moved forward because that wasn't the only time that Tina Turner chose to hurt herself. She was foaming at the mouth. Either they had taken her wig off her head or she hadn't put it on. I told Rhonda to get the car and pull up in front of the club. I picked Tina up and put her in the car and rushed to the nearest hospital. I went to maybe 5 hospitals in LA and none of them took suicide patients. That makes absolutely no sense to me. That might be the booger sugar talking, because how is that possible? A hospital that won't take a suicide attempt? Kind of bullshit. What? Finally, I carried her in my arms into the hospital on the corner of La Brea and Coliseum, and they told me to take her to the Daniel Friedman Memorial Hospital. They said that they had the facilities there and gave me directions. What the fuck? That's just very hard for me to believe. When we got there, the hospital staff asked me, what did she take? I didn't know for sure, but I guessed that they were some type of sleeping pills. They had me looking through this pill book. I called the housekeeper to check any prescriptions there might have been in the bathroom cabinet. Now, reading Tina, we know that Tina has the propensity to get cozy with the dolls. You know, the dolls just pills. The housekeeper found something. It seems Tina had taken all of the medicine out of the capsules and swallowed that instead of the capsules themselves. The capsules were still floating in the can where she had tried to flush them. So the housekeeper brought them to the hospital. We found out later that Tina had taken about 40 of the powerful sedative Tuinal. She was on the table and they had put her on the respirator machine with the bag that was breathing in and out. Y'all know Lou be making me sick with that bullshit. She was on the table and they had put her on this respirator machine with this bag that was breathing in and out when she breathed. Her tongue was all swollen up in her mouth. As I watched this airbag slowed down, then stopped altogether. The doctor snapped his mask off his face and he shook his head like he couldn't save her, because I had been running around with her for hours trying to get someone to take her into a hospital. That's why I'm saying that makes no sense to me. You're not making sense. You telling me that a hospital wouldn't take a suicide attempt? First of all, stick your fucking finger down her throat and make her throw up. That's the first thing you could do. I mean, goddamn, the orderly could stick his finger down Tina Turner's throat and make her throw up. So that makes no sense to me. Tina's life was saved, but she had to remain in intensive care for a couple of days. During her recovery, she completely lost her sense of taste, but it returned after she regained her health. It was not Tina's only suicide attempt, however. 3 or 4 times she tried it. I don't really know why. Because she was messing with you, Scorpio. She was messing with you. You ninjas feel accomplished when you drive somebody crazy. You ninjas wear driving somebody out of their mind as a badge of honor. That's what you do. Yeah, I used to fuck with Kitty. You know I put her in a mental institution. Yep. She ain't make it. So I moved on and started with her sister. She wasn't strong enough. Her sister was strong enough, though. I'm not a mind reader. I tell her you keep pulling the same bullshit. She pulled it somewhere in Germany one time. She took those pills and had to have her stomach pumped out by medical personnel. I'm saying, why you keep doing that? That's a form of looking for attention right there. Then this other girl that I was living with back then, Ike Jr.'s mother, Lorraine, she went and drank some poison. She never expressed to me why, but in my opinion, when people try to attempt suicide like that, they are looking for attention. Anybody that really wants to commit suicide, man, I think they succeed. First of all, that's a concern to me that you got 2 women in your life that have tried to commit suicide. What are you doing to these women? Either you picking women that have the propensity to commit suicide, or you're doing something to these women to make them want to commit suicide. Ike. Anybody that really wanted to commit suicide, man, I think they succeed. And me being the way I was, I didn't stop to think why she was doing it. I let her do what she wanted to do. If she wanted to die, she could die. It wasn't that I was insensitive. I was just living too fast even to think about her feelings. But Ike was not unaffected by Tina's suffering. He felt that the problem was that Tina was not frank with him about her feelings. I'm going to leave that right there. After the suicide attempt in LA, Tina was okay for a year or so. And then, man, one night, I will never forget it. I had a real expensive Italian car. I got dressed up and I was on my way to see Gloria. I was coming down the hill from the house, and when I got almost to the bottom, I suddenly thought about Tina. A bad feeling came over me, and I made a U-turn on that hill and went back up to the house. When I walked in, Tina was down in the corner between the dresser and the wall, cuddled up there, and she was crying so bad, man. That was the worst feeling I ever had. That's when I said to myself, man, what did she do to deserve this?
Oh, the ickety-ickety, now you got a conscience, sir?
I felt like I was really mistreating her, but I was in love with this other girl too. Ooh, my gosh. And if you make it a competition, I'm telling you, girls, I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, I know my women that watch me are a little seasoned, so we know better. But you young girls, once you can distinguish between love and competition, you'll realize in most instances, you really didn't love the ninja or the ninjette. It was just that you didn't want to lose him or her to the next bitch. And baby, once it's a competition, there are no holds barred. Once you learn the difference between a competition and real love, baby, you ain't bothered. You be like, do I really want that bitch? Or that ninja? Do I really want him? I mean, because he was a terrible, awful mother. I felt like I was really mistreating her, but I was in love with this other girl too. I wanted to do something, but there was nothing I could do. I was torn between the pillar and the post. I didn't like hurting Tina. I really didn't. That time she was showing hurt. I wish today, if I had known then what I know now, I would never have looked at that other chick again. I would have kept my family together, period. But I didn't know. Right now, I am trying to make the best out of life. You can't undo what's done. I am not apologizing for nothing I did, but I regret a lot of the things I have done. Tina always acted like she accepted what I did, which is what I wanted to hear. We both lived a lie. She said it didn't bother her. She told me it didn't matter to her about me going to bed with different girls every night. But it would worry her if I started seeing any one of them on a regular basis. And that's the problem. I'm not about to break up my relationship for one, rump in a sack. I'm not about to do that because it's not worth it to me. Now, if I find out that you actually spending time with this hoe, we got a problem. The way that me and the Texan was that he was kind of like Ike Turner, but he was a Leo, so he was extremely romantic. Amazingly romantic. He knew how to make you feel like the most special woman on this earth when you were with him. The problem was that he was that romantic to everybody. So every woman that he dealt with on that level felt like they were his girlfriend too. Okay? Now for the girls that he just was, hey girl. I really appreciated him. Be like, what the fuck is this earring doing in here? And he'd be like, oh man, look, let me tell you something. So I met this girl out the other day. She was on my dick. Yeah, so I got this $40 in my pocket. Either we can go to IHOP or you can come in the truck with me, do what you do, and you could just take this $40 in your pocket. What you want to do? And he said most of the time the girls would just take the $40. And I'd be like, okay. And what's crazy is I just wasn't mad about that. When it was just one bitch, it's always a bitch named Keisha. Always a bitch named Keisha. That one bitch named Keisha, I couldn't threaten that bitch away. You hear me? He had to hold me from not going to this girl house and knocking on her door. He was like, Nay, why you gonna knock on her door? She might kill you. I was like, you right. Let me call her and tell her to come down here. Little randoms never bothered me. It was that one bitch named Keisha that he just would not leave alone. I was like, ugh. You and Keisha gonna get murked around with me. She said it didn't bother her. She told me it didn't matter to her about me going to bed with a different girl every night, but it would worry her if I started seeing any of them on a regular basis. It was a lie, but it was what I wanted to hear at the time. It served my purpose, and I played on it. I lived my life as though she didn't mind, and I believed it until the time when I felt funny when I was coming down the hill and went back and she was sitting in the corner crying. Other times she was hurt by my behavior, but she hid it. I used to tell her, hey man, if I'm doing something to hurt you, I wish you would tell me, because right or wrong, if I knew how she felt about something, even if I didn't stop doing it, I'd have found another way to do it. I was not going to continue to do something to hurt her and know it. That's the way I felt in my heart. And that also is a Scorpio. I don't know if I told her that or not, but that's how I felt. If I am doing something to hurt you and you tell me, I wouldn't say that I'm going to stop, but you would think I stopped. I would find another way to do it that wouldn't hurt you. After that feeling, that time, I said to myself, she didn't deserve this type of hurt behind the way she was with me. She was giving me all of her. She wasn't no problem to me. I had it all, but I didn't know it. You can't cry over spilt milk, though. I love that he's taking accountability in this moment. Of course, Ike had never promised to be faithful, and it was the 60s after all, but now he looks back on all his wildness with a tinge of regret. After that, I started showing Tina attention, but I was still fucking around. I wasn't bold with it like I had been. I was more discreet. I started to be a little closer with Tina. I'd go to a movie with her and the kids. In those days, I thought buying her material things would give her what I wasn't able to give her, but it didn't. Whatever I did, thinking I was making up for things, led her to believe that I had got jealous and possessive. And she started giving me problems about wanting to break up and shit, because I guess that's when she saw some weakness in me. I was trying to hold it together. A year before that, if she had been talking about a breakup, I would have said, well, fuck you. Now I was trying to talk her into staying. All the stars are born. Hollywood, lovely white light.